We've always said, treat us normal. Don't treat us like anything different. But when you do have a month and you're like, and it's fine. If someone wants to celebrate it, whatever, teach their own. We all have opinions, but at the same time, it's like, treat me the same that you would treat other people. Don't just because you see me in a wheelchair doesn't mean you have to go, oh, little boy, pat me on the head.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of the Nick Speaks podcast. I'm your host, Nicolas Comstock. This is the podcast dedicated to the disabled community where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. Before I get to my guest, who is now family to the show, I want to give you some very brief announcements. As you guys know, I've had a book out since April called Trailblazing and Transforming Entrepreneurial Stories of People with Disabilities. 12 amazing stories of people with disabilities pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps and making life happen for ourselves. I'm chapter 5, Breaking the Mold. Read my chapter, of course, and read about the other amazing authors doing their entrepreneurial thing. That's what we say. And so check out my book, link in bio. Also check out the GoFundMe page and help me keep this podcast on the air. All right, you guys, my guest is setting another record today. This is his 4th appearance.
Yeah, baby.
On the Nick Speaks podcast. And you know what? I just let him go ahead and talk because he needs no introduction. Daniel Rivera is back. I can't roll my eyes.
Rivera.
I can't roll my eyes either, which is why my eye doctor hates
Fair. What's up, man?
Daniel Rivera, you sexy man, you. How are you?
I'm good, man. Got a lot going on, man, in my life, but I'm doing good. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing awesome. We are almost at 50 episodes here at Nick Speaks, not too far away. Very thrilled for you to be here again. Daniel really is, and we have other friends to the show that have come back. But Daniel really is my personal friend and a friend to the show. And so I said, because we made some changes here at Nick Speaks, I said, I don't want to do a show without a guest ever again, because I just don't want to hear myself talk for 30 minutes. So I said to my producer, I am not doing another show without a guest. So if that means that Daniel Rivera comes on twice a month, then Daniel Rivera comes on twice a month. But no, we'll keep it fresh for you guys and have guests you actually want to listen to. No, but I'm doing good, Dan. And today I have you here, and it was a perfect day to have you here because we're in the month of July and we're talking about today, Disability Pride Month.
Yes, and we just came off the wonderful month of June Pride Month, and now we are in July Disability Pride Month, which we can be proud of who we are, and we can show our disabilities off to the world and just show that we are able to do whatever we want, and we are valued. We are okay. All right, I can't.
My God. So I honestly, and I'm not making fun of the gays, but you guys realize that this is basically the Disability Pride Month for the gays. I mean, it's basically saying let's have able-bodied Gay Pride Month in June, and then we'll have the disabled Gay Pride Month in July. But what happened to all inclusiveness? Why don't we just celebrate this all together and get it over with?
Fair point.
I hate this month because number one, it was started by someone who doesn't have a disability, who in my opinion has nothing to do with a disability. He just started to get brownie points. He just started it to get brownie points because he's a politician and that's what
Right.
politicians do. And I just found out that Disability Pride Month is only 10 years old, which means it was started in 2015. And Rahm Emanuel is is the guy who came up with the idea and said, "Hey, let's not include the disability folks in Gay Pride Month. Let's give them their own month, but let's not say they're not included in our month. Let's just give them the month after so they feel included," which is really
Yeah.
stupid. Because if you think about it, that's what it is. And everybody was like, no, it's the ADA because on the 26th of July, the ADA turns 35 years old. Okay, well, that's coincidental. That's coincidental.
Yeah.
If that's the reason, if the ADA is the real reason why we're celebrating Disability Pride Month, why was Disability Pride Month only started 10 years ago? Because the ADA is as old as I am. So,
Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at, and maybe we have maybe we have some of our facts wrong. So, whoever wants to fact check us, that's fine, but it really doesn't matter because we're talking on the month in general. It looks like it was first started in 2004. It may not have been like an actual month at that time, but every year since July of 2004, there has been something that they've called Disability Pride, and maybe 10 years ago is actually, in July of 2013 was the 10th year of the Chicago Disability Pride Parade. So it has been going on since 2004. I don't know if that's when it was officially made a Pride Month. Doesn't
well,
matter.
you know, our AI robots could be wrong, but I
Correct. And
asked,
it doesn't really matter because I think the purpose of talking about it is to tell people it's like we should be proud of this all the time. And it's not necessarily like, oh, be proud that you can't walk. Just be proud of who you are. We don't need a month to commemorate us. We're regular people, especially people that are, disabled like you, Nick, that can't walk. We've always said it before. We've always said, treat us normal. Don't treat us like anything different. But when you do have a month and you're like, and it's fine if someone wants to celebrate it, whatever, teach their own. We all have opinions, but at the same time, it's like treat me the same that you would treat other people. Don't just because you see me in a wheelchair doesn't mean you have to go, oh, little boy, pat me on the head.
you know, Daniel, you bring up a good point about that, and I'm going to shift gears. So you said, you know, a lot of people with disabilities uh, say, treat us normal, you know, don't treat us with kid gloves and all this stuff.
Right.
Well, I want to bring something up because a lot of people in the disabled community are liberals. They're bleeding liberals, and I am not. I'm a conservative, and I voted for Trump. Does that mean that I support everything that he does, says? No. But you brought up a point that I have to bring up because we do, as a disabled community, for those of you who don't know, Daniel has had epilepsy for years and struggles with other disability things, I would say, because all the surgeries you're about to have are crazy. Um,
Sure.
so Daniel has epilepsy, and he just said this, and it really hit it on the head for me. A lot of people in the disabled community swear that Donald Trump hates people with disabilities because he made fun of a reporter because they say because he had a disability. That is not the reason he made fun of that reporter. He may have used that reporter's disability to make fun of him. And should he have done that? Probably not. But I will say, with a community that says, treat me like you would anybody else, that disabled reporter, as hurt as he may be, he really should have stepped back and said, wait a second. It didn't matter to him. It didn't matter to Donald Trump that I had a disability. He made fun of me anyway, just like he would anybody else that he disagreed with.
Right.
So, you know, do I believe that Donald Trump hates people with disabilities? No. And that narrative needs to stop. And I
Right.
had to say that because you said we expect everybody else to treat us normal. So if you're a person with a disability who expects to be treated like everybody else without a disability, expect to be made fun of. Now, are some people going to go blow the belt and make fun of your disability? Yes. Does it make it right? No, but you're being treated as if you didn't have a disability at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's things that when you talk about that reporter, I think there's things that nobody can be in the middle anymore on anything. And that's one thing. You and I have talked about it. I am not a Donald Trump fan whatsoever. I actually voted for him because I am conservative and a lot of the values and policies that he has, I supported, especially at the time of election. I actually would be almost dead center middle, especially right now. There's a lot of things he's doing that I don't agree with. When it came to that time, specifically, we're talking about this reporter that it happened. I was very turned off by it. I was very upset, like that he would do that. I also understood it on the other side. And Nick, you make a really good point. Like you want us to treat you more normal, and like if a guy had, a missing tooth, maybe he would act like he had a lisp. It
Yeah,
happens.
that's
I'm
what
not
he
saying
would.
it's right to make fun of people. It's not. But it does happen in life, and people are people. Again, people are going to say, well, you're making excuses for people, but like, we're all going to be treated some way. I shared, maybe the first episode we did about myself getting made fun of in school. And it's what made me who I am. Was it a form of bullying? Yes, sure. And we could even say Donald Trump can be a bully sometimes. I think anybody can say that. If you take him outside of politics, if you saw him when he was on The Apprentice, like he was. And he's always been that, but that's always been his personality. Anyway, we're getting too far in the weeds, but my whole point is, Nick, you make a really good point, is like people are people, and if we want to be treated normal, we have to understand that sometimes people are going to treat us normal, whether it's good or bad.
Normal equals asshole.
And it's unfortunate. And Donald Trump, here's the thing, Donald Trump is an asshole. He always has been. I like a lot of his policies, but like he always has been, and that's always been his persona. And before he ran for the president, that's the reason why Hollywood loved him, because he was an asshole. That's the reason why he got his own TV show, because he was an asshole.
And
So,
honestly, I hope when he finishes his presidency, I hope that somebody is smart enough to go to him and say, let's reboot The Apprentice.
oh,
Oh my
one
God.
million percent. And here's the thing: if TV's smart, whether it's conservative or not, like they would put it on their channel. Or Fox would.
I had to bring that up because you said we all wanted to be treated like normal. Now back to this issue of disability pride.
Let's do it.
I really do not like this point of view because, pride in some instance, now you're going to get some super Christians out there who are like, oh, we shouldn't have pride in anything. And
Pride goeth before the fall.
yeah, and that's all true. But here's the thing. I don't like the idea of disability pride. Here's why. Because I am not proud of the fact that I cannot live life without a caregiver to get me up out of bed in the morning. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud that I have to have somebody wipe my butt every day.
Yeah.
And I'm saying things like this, Daniel, because when I get on TikTok and other platforms and I talk about my struggles, they're like, well, first of all, why don't you get off your ass and get a job? Well, getting off my ass is difficult in general. Um,
Getting off your ass is hard when you can't walk.
yeah, I mean, the only time I've been off my ass is when I fell and my chair fell on top of me and I broke
Oh,
my foot.
geez. Yeah,
That
horrible.
was the only time I was off my ass. But other than that, so I am not proud of my disability at all. If there's anything that I'm proud of, and this is what I wanted to really hone in on today, if there's anything that I'm proud of, I'm proud that I got to a point where I said, I can't change this bullshit. I'm going to accept my lot in life that God has given me. And once I was able to accept my disability, I I was able to soar like an eagle.
Yeah,
And I would really like to see Disability Pride Month be changed to Disability Acceptance Month. And I would like to see people come out and say, you know what, I really had a tough time accepting my disability and accepting my lot in life. But because I've been able to accept it, this is what I've been able to accomplish. And it does not mean that you accept it every day. I called you this week and I said, man, I just hate the caregivers I have to deal with sometimes. How often in a week do I call and say that? Because it's true. I mean, I have
yeah,
24/7 care. I don't see anybody else really outside my caregivers. And disability acceptance does not mean that you accept it every day. I mean, I
right.
have been in a black hole recently um, with my depression that I struggle with because I'm just like, can I just get a caregiver that wants to come and go to work, have a good time with me, and laugh? I mean, who else can get paid to hear their boss say, hey, I want to go to the mall for a couple hours? I mean, really,
Yeah, that's true.
caregivers and the reference to disability pride, caregivers, you should have the pride that this month you get to work in a field where you get to be someone else's hands and feet.
And you're helping someone.
You're helping some.
You're making them, and honestly, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
You're good.
I feel like it can help someone with disabilities feel empowered because, again, like you said, they are really their hands and feet, and especially in your situation, and it can help. Like for example, we talk about this a lot, where you were told that you weren't going to have your own apartment, you were told that you could never live alone, you were told that you could never do anything, and now you're doing it with a caregiver's help, but they are the extension of you. So they should be proud that they're able to make someone's dream come true. Someone that was told that they'll never do anything, that they'll never live alone or never have their own apartment, that they're able to make that happen for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And caregivers, please stop degrading yourself as we talk about disability pride. Stop degrading yourself to just a butt wiper.
Hmm.
Because if that's all you're looking at this job as,
Why are
it
you doing it?
is, yeah, why are you doing it? Is I get to wipe somebody else's Hershey squirts? I mean, I'm just being fun, and I use humor a lot in my podcast, but that's how I deal with a lot of pain. And Daniel's over here throwing up. Uh, for those of you who aren't watching or listening on Spotify or Apple, he's over here throwing up. But stop degrading yourself just as butt wipers
Yeah.
because you're so much more than that. And I say this all the time because I'm a Christian and I say it from a Christian perspective. Caregiver, you are the hands of you are the hands and feet of Jesus. You get to walk out the gospel every day of your life. You get to feed somebody when they are hungry. You
Hmm.
get to help clothe somebody when they are naked. if you're looking at being a caregiver from a Christian perspective, and you're always going to hear me use a Christian perspective because I am a Christian and I make
Yeah.
no apology for that. But so when you look at this from a Christian perspective, you are the hands and feet of Jesus. When it says you are created in the image of God, guess what? You are doing the job of God. You
Yeah.
are doing what he would want you to do. You are not a little God. Don't misunderstand me. I don't want to be over here preaching the little God doctrine because that's not true either.
They'll come after you.
But you are being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Yeah.
And think about it this way. You know, most of us, well, not me because I'm already here, but most of you that don't have a disability, unless you're killed instantly, you're going to go out of this world somewhat disabled. So, this Disability Pride Month, on this day when we're highlighting this, caregivers, think about that when you say, ew, I don't want to change somebody else's grief. Well, you better hope that never happens to you,
Yep.
because someone else that you're saying that to now, what if you're in their same predicament 30 days later and you have to sit in a brief for maybe 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 hours because they can't find staffing that's willing to do it because they said the exact same thing that you said. Ew, I don't want to change a brief. So just be careful with that.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody that I want to be prideful this month, I didn't think about this until just now. I want it to be caregivers.
That's a good
I,
point.
I want it to be caregivers, and I want them to understand that they're doing the Lord's work. They really are doing the Lord's work. I know some caregivers are out there. I hate it when people come up to me and say that. But no, you really, really are. And so we really need caregivers to accept that, hey, this is a big deal. This isn't just a 9 to 5 job, go home and
Right.
forget about it. Daniel, you're sitting over there like a bump on a log.
No, I'm waiting. Everything you're saying is good. I don't want to interrupt you. One thing I did want to say is like for example, with Gay Pride Month, I mean, it was all about you know, you said you didn't like it being called Disability Pride Month, Pride Month. With Gay Pride Month, it was all about being proud of who you are. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with Pride Month, but I'm just saying the purpose from hearing others talk about it is it's all about being proud of who you are, being proud of people, or being proud of yourself that people have tried to, you know, uh, tried to silence who you are, tried to silence who you love, blah, blah, blah. So Gay Pride Month was like, be proud of who you are, you know, show the world who you are. Well, Disability Pride Month, like you said, it should be disability acceptance. Again, and I am not like if I could get my epilepsy taken away, I would. So that's not me being proud of it. That's me being wanting to live a normal life. And look, I love the musical Wicked, and I love the story Wicked,
I love
and
the songs.
yeah, absolutely. And the new movie Wicked came out this past Thanksgiving, and the second movie for it is going to come out this Thanksgiving. Well, there is a scene in the show and in the movie where the Wicked Witch of the East, who will become the Wicked Witch of the East, she's actually in a wheelchair. And in the musical, her sister, the Wicked Witch of the West, spoiler alert, okay, so editor put up a spoiler alert or something. But if you have never seen the musical Wicked, turn this off for the next like minute and then turn it back on. Maybe 30 seconds. I'll try to be quick.
Well,
Um,
I've never seen it, so
and
you're going to ruin
okay,
it.
so I'm gonna ruin it for you, but that's okay. And this time, the Wicked Witch of the West heals her, or like heals her and allows her to be able to walk with her magic powers. Well, in the new movie, they have decided to go, want to call it woke, whatever you want to call it, with it, and decided to um not do that. Now I don't know what the finished product is, and the thing is, they're like, we don't want to give the intention that disability people need fixed, and I understand that because this is
Okay, but
how.
that makes no sense because you already took her disability. You already took her disability away in the first movie, and you're gonna give it back.
No, 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 no. This is in the play, in the musical, in the
Oh,
play.
okay,
And
okay,
then
okay.
in the movie, when this scene comes in the movie, they are not going to do it.
Oh, so it changed. Okay.
Right.
I was gonna say that's pretty messed up, man. I mean, like
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
okay,
So they changed it. All right, spoilers over. So they changed that part. And the thing is they're saying like we are not wanting to be like you have to be fixed. And I understand that because again, we do want to be treated like normal, like especially someone like you, Nick, that has a more severe disability than I do, and that has the ability, you're unable to walk, that has that disability, but at the same time, most people would give anything to walk, and now I know I understand they're like, well, it would take away who I am, and there is truth to that. But you can't say that you're like if I had a magic wand and I could fix it, that you wouldn't. And maybe there's people that would, and that's fine. This is my opinion. I'm not saying it's right, so people don't crucify me. I'm just saying that I I think we got to be careful. I think acceptance is so important. I think we got to be careful of just being like, hey, this isn't like again, I would want my epilepsy taken away because it would be nice to do other things that I can't do because of it.
right. It's just a horrible thing that you have to deal with. You
Right.
know, for me, what I want to say as when we since we're talking about this today is accept who you are. If there's any,
Absolutely.
I shouldn't say accept who you are. I should say accept what you have
Yeah, good
because
point.
a disability is not who you are. CMV is not what I am.
Yeah.
Octave atrophy is not what I am.
Yeah.
What I am is someone who loves to eat food like you would not believe, who loves to watch Judge Judy. By the way, she has a new show coming out on July 21st.
A
Um,
new one?
yeah, so she's got like 4 or 5 or 6 shows in the atmosphere right now. But anyway, so I'm a huge Judge Judy fan, and
Yeah, baby.
and and who I am is someone who loves to spend time with people. I feel like I don't get enough time with my friends, and my friends are like, Nick, I know, but I'm working and I'm so
Yeah.
busy. And I'm like, I he's one of them. Daniel, I mean,
Yeah.
we
And I
just
just found my brother. No, I'm just kidding.
we just yeah, I mean, you have some oh my gosh. You have some unexpected family drama going on. So, uh, oh my gosh.
It's
Um,
okay. Keep going.
oh my God.
Keep-
But really, accept your disability. It's not, some people say, my disability is part of me, or some people say that if you kick my chair, you're kicking me. Actually, that's true because my body can actually feel the response of you kicking my chair. So yes, if you kick my chair, you're kicking me and it hurts. So that part I do believe, but in my opinion, the disability is not who you are. And I
yeah.
want to say, if we're going to celebrate disability pride, let's do it right. Let's accept who we are.
Yeah.
I keep saying accept who we are. Let's accept
No, but you're right.
what we have
Yeah, what we have.
because
Yeah.
it's not who we are.
Yeah, and that it's such a good point because I think and especially from what I was saying, I can't believe I said that. It's gonna be the rest of the.
My, my producer's going to call me and he's going to be like, what? fuck?
Like, oh, first step on of the day, folks. Um,
Oh
so
my God.
so
Anyway,
here's the thing with disability acceptance, man. I'm gonna try not to look at the camera because we're dying over here. Disability acceptance is it is okay to do what I was saying, where you want Nick. I'm gonna.
that's okay.
Oh,
Not even
but
on me
okay.
unless I'm talking, so you're good.
Fair.
Go
Okay.
on.
But it's okay to what I was saying where you're like, I wish I didn't have this anymore. But the difference is don't live there. Don't live there, and that's where the acceptance comes in. The acceptance comes in
So
that
many
like
people live there, Daniel, though, because their families forced them to live there.
and that's a different story, and that's their family's fault.
My family was like, all joking aside, and we've
Yeah.
laughed a lot today, and that's what we do on this podcast. And with me, when me and Daniel get together, it's a shit show. I'm just gonna be honest.
True.
Uh, but a lot of disabled families force their relatives to accept low poverty, to accept the fact that they will never get married, which is not true, that they will never have a physical, intimate relationship with someone, that they will never have a job. Of course, that's what 2 states and 3 counties told me, is that I would never
Yeah.
have a job.
But that's like to your point, that is coming from someone that is just feeding you lies and crap. And whether it's your family or not, but you're right, families have told them like you're never gonna be, something any day because of your disability. Well, and I know this is kind of funny to make a reference to, but Quasimodo, we're not gonna get on that thing here, but like Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame was told by that guy that found him in the Disney movie, he was like, "You are deformed. Like, you are ugly, and that's all you're ever going to be. And that's why you need to stay in the shadows and never come out." And so, because that guy told Quasimodo that, Quasimodo was going to stay in the shadows and be, unfortunately, who he was in the shadows. But then, once people told him, "Hey, you are perfect the way you are," now granted, he accepted who he was and
Yeah.
that he understood that this is the way he was born, that his face was deformed, but he accepted to live with that, and he understood that.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna do this, and I don't usually, and maybe I'll start doing it. I'll start doing it in other podcasts if we're talking about topics that are relevant. But what I want people to do this week in this podcast is tell me what you think disability pride means. What are some things that you have accepted about your disability?
Yeah,
Tell me some things about that. Or be honest with me. Tell me, be like, Nick, what the crap? I haven't accepted my disability at all. And this is the reason why. And I don't know if I ever will. And that's fine. But here's the thing, you cannot let it eat you alive.
yeah,
You Bitterness destroys its own container,
yeah.
which means it destroys you.
And on the other hand, Nick, you may have people that will like be pissed off what I said and like completely disagree, and that's fine by saying, "No, I wouldn't ever change who I was. It's made me who I am." Well, I'm glad. I'm glad, and it has made me who I am too. And there's a lot of things, but like, so that is fine if you've come to that thing. But the main thing is, if you've come to that point in your life, that's fine. But everybody's different. And the main thing that Nick is trying to hone is it's may not be Pride Month for all of us, but acceptance it could be for all of us because there are people that aren't proud of it, but if they can come to terms and they can come to accept it, they can live with it and be a better them at the state that they're in.
Okay, Daniel. Okay, we're having a lot of laughs today. And
Oh,
when you said I had to put my head down, although when you're talking and when I'm talking, the camera's on me and not on you.
that's
But
okay.
when you said what Nick is trying to hone, I immediately thought of Moan. And so I'm sitting here and I'm going, ah, and I'm like digging my nails into my legs. Nick, don't laugh. Don't laugh. Here's the thing though. I mean, tell me some things. Like for me, in fact, this just happened to me this week. I have something in the state of Ohio called alone time, which is meaning a caregiver, if I want to be away from a caregiver for a couple hours, they can go and do whatever they need to do. And then that's considered my alone time. But you know what I have discovered and had to accept just recently, as a couple days ago, is that I cannot have alone time for maybe more than 30 minutes with a caregiver that's not in my apartment unless I'm with somebody that I trust, because I had major things that happened to me.
Yeah.
I dropped my phone and my smart speaker fell on the floor at the same time. Plus, I had a major personal care accident and I was by myself for it wasn't a big deal. I gave the caregiver the time off, but I had to accept because sometimes when you have a caregiver all the time, you're just like, dear God, give me a break,
Yeah.
and because I just want, and it's not enough that I'm laying in my room and they're in the next room and they're not going to come bother me if I need them. No, I just want to be able to drive through my own apartment and not have somebody sitting there.
Yeah.
But for me, I had to accept this week a couple different times that I can't have that because
Yeah.
it's not safe for me. Because not because I'm going to harm myself, but because whenever a caregiver leaves me for like an hour or more, that's when my bowels decide to explode. Um, you know, or that's when like I start to have major spasms and I need to get out of the chair, or that's when I drop my phone, and if I drop my phone, which is the way of communicating, nobody can get a hold of me.
Right.
So what I've had to accept just within the past couple of days, Nick, even though you have alone time, you can't use it unless you're with somebody else, meaning not with your caregiver.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you have to have somebody always with you.
Right.
And that is something that I've had to accept. And my parents would always say to me, Nick, how are you going to make it on your own? Because you always have to have somebody. Mom and Dad, I know you're going to love this. You're right. And to be honest with you, I hate that. But it's something that I've had to accept.
Yeah. And on the other hand, and I'll jump on the empowered train with Pride Month with everybody. And on the other hand, it's what I was saying at the beginning is like you did it. Even though you understood that you had to have 24/7 care, you still did it because you are accepting it at the same time, What you could do, Nick, is you could tell those other people to just, hey, go take a walk around the block or something.
But see, my caregivers don't do that. They're like, okay, you don't need me here for an hour. They'll drive all the way to
They'll
the
go
other side of
somewhere
the city.
in Columbus. Well, just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
people know I'm in Columbus. That's
Oh,
why.
okay.
Um, they'll drive all the way to Westerville, and I'm all the way over here on the east side. And I'm going, yeah, I said I could be alone, but I may need you to come give me a bottle of water in 15 minutes. Well, they're like, well, why couldn't you just set the bottle of water out before they leave? My luck is I would tip the bottle of water over and it would spill everywhere. That's my luck. And that's happened
Yeah.
before too. So, what I want you to do this week's call of action, and maybe I'll do a different call of action every week if I feel a call of action,
It's a great idea.
is tell me how you have accepted your disability. Tell me what Disability Pride Month means to you. And would you like to see it change from Disability Pride Month to Disability Acceptance Month?
Yeah.
Because I would honestly like to see that change.
It's okay to be proud of who you are as a person, but you don't have to be. Now, if you are, that's okay, but you don't have to be proud of your disability. Like Nick was saying in the beginning, he's not proud that he has to have someone wipe his butt. I'm not proud that I have to have someone wipe the drool off my face when I'm having a seizure. I'm not proud that, I have to have someone pick me up and set me in a wheelchair after I have a seizure, or lay me in my bed after I have a seizure, and not knowing if my body is going to come back to, like, all my hands are and my legs are going to function right. My speech is messed up because my epilepsy. I have severe ADD because of my epilepsy. It's messed with my memory. And so I'm not proud of that. But you can be proud of who you are as a person and how far you've come because of your disability, and learn to
I wouldn't
accept.
say because of it, Daniel. I would say in spite of it.
Sure,
I would
sure.
say in spite of it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I don't, you
Yeah,
know,
in spite of. Yes. Yeah, I
those
like that.
people who say your disability made you who you are, I would say it didn't make you who you are. Again, you are not your disability.
Hmm.
Learn to separate those things,
Yep.
because another thing, you can't say, oh, my disability is who I am, and then expect to be treated as if you don't have a disability. If you believe that your disability is who you are, then don't expect to be treated as someone without a disability. Your
Yeah, that's a good
disability
point.
is not a personality. It does not have feelings.
Well, and that's a good point, Nick, because there are some disabled influencers out there that would say, "This is who I am." But at this, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, because at the same time, you are not you're not your disability. You may have accepted it, and you may have learned to live with it, but you are who God made you to be. And now you have got where you're at, let's say a big disability influencer, because of your disability.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because of my disability, I've learned how to be patient.
Yeah.
Because of my disability, I've learned how to adapt. Because of my disability, I've learned that I'm not going to have a lot of friends and I have to become my own best friend. You know, people ask me all the time, especially people that are around me, they're like, Nick, what you laughing at? And to be honest with you, uh, the title of my autobiography is probably going to be Nick, what you laughing at? And because
Love it.
in my own world, I'm having arguments with people that aren't even there, and I'm telling them off, and I'm like, "Oh, that was good," and
Yeah.
then I do the crippled laugh that God gave all cripples, and that's not me. That's not me faking that laugh. That is my laugh, and for God's sakes, God, why did you give all cripples that laugh? I that'll be one of the first questions I ask God.
Why do we all sound like Homer Simpson?
Or like a really bad version of Beavis and Butthead. Like honestly. But and my first caregiver that I ever had in Columbus said to me, Nick, become your own best friend. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Now I understand,
Yeah.
because you're only gonna have those caregivers around you. You're not gonna have somebody call you up and be like, hey, let's go out to eat, let's do this, let's do that. So become your own best friend.
Yeah.
Order your own food in and have, yeah, just accept it.
You
It's
have
not
been
who you are.
Yeah. You have been the perfect example of someone that has accepted it and And again, back to what I was saying, you've used it to help other people, and that could be something that we could say. It's, you don't have to necessarily be proud of it, but if you can use it, like you use your experience in life, you may not have liked that experience that you've had to go through. It may have been hard, but you can use that to help someone else in life. And so that's what we could do with our disabilities. Yeah,
For those of you that have been through a divorce, okay, or maybe you're going through a divorce, you hate the fact that you had to go through that divorce.
yeah,
You thought you were going to be with that person for 30 or 40 or 50 or 60
the
years.
rest of your life. Yeah,
But now you're in a position where you're not going to be with that person. And you're like, I hate this divorce. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But you know what? Now you're able to take that divorce and say, I've been through some of the worst pain in my life. And now when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'm going through a divorce and I'm going through hell, help me. How do I get through this? I can say, this is how you get through this.
boom, love that.
Well, not I, but the person who's been
Right, right. No, 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 no.
can
Yeah, yeah.
say, let me help you. I've been through some of the same things. Let me tell you what I think you're feeling.
That's
It
good.
doesn't mean it doesn't mean that that divorced person or that disabled person is gonna understand your situation completely. It just means that we can empathize a lot more.
And we can share our personal experiences with you, and it may help you, get through the day.
It may help you get through the day, the next minute, the next half hour. I will tell you, and then we're gonna wrap this up. I will tell you that one of my best friends through this podcast has become Philip Bramwell. And if you guys um, have listened to this podcast, Philip has been on twice, and he's just been such an encouragement to me. Behind the scenes, he and I talk about maybe 2 to 3 times a week now, and he has become such a dear friend to me, and
Yeah.
he's younger than me. But the fact is, I finally have somebody to say, hey, I want to work, but guess what? They won't hire me either. And I'm in the same boat. And, or I want to work and I lost my job, but hey, it's hard to get rehired again. And so Phil has been able to come in and say, I know what it's like to want a romantic partner and not be able to have one or obtain one the way I want to. And so he's been able to empathize with me and give me a lot of thoughts. Which, if you've listened to Phil on this program, he said to me, and I believe his first appearance, he said, Nick, I've had to learn how to become uncomfortable, how to be okay with being uncomfortable. And I'm like, wow. Because so many people with disabilities they figure out ways how to minimize the discomfort or how to get rid of it altogether. And in so many cases, that's just not possible.
Yeah.
So when Phil told me I've had to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, that like hit me like a ton of bricks. So yeah, I mean, just honestly, find your community, accept your disability.
Yeah.
You may not accept it today. It may take you a month. Hey, it took me all of my teens, all of my 20s
Yep.
to accept my disability.
Yep.
I
And
just
it may take you all of your life, but
to
if you can
accept
at
it.
least live a life making steps toward acceptance, you'll be just fine. I love it, Nick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good show today. Sorry about all the laughter and all the cut ups to my producer. Leave some of it in, take some of it out.
Leave it all in, man. It's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
But before I go today, I want to hit my book again and say check out Trailblazing and Transforming Entrepreneurial Stories of People with Disabilities. You can get it on Amazon or in paperback. Well, you can get it on Amazon Kindle and in paperback. We are working on an audio version. I have not heard anything yet, but we are working on it. And so check that out. Also, help me with the GoFundMe, you guys. It's in my link tree every episode. Help me if you can do $5, if you can do $10. I would greatly appreciate it. So help me in any way that you can. Daniel, my friend, do you have any final words of wisdom before we shut down today?
Live long and prosper. No, no, man. He's like Daniel. No, it's a great show, and I think everything you said, Nick, rings true to me, and it should ring true to all of us. This is not just for disabled people. This is for anybody. You have something in life that you're going through, just like Nick. You said, people going through divorce, or people going through something that you struggle with for a long time. This is something that you can learn to accept. Maybe not going to be the hardest thing, but and if you are a Christian, pray to God, and God's going to help you out with that. But make steps forward to acceptance. Love it, Nick. Thanks for
Love
having me
you.
on again.
It was a great episode today, guys. Thanks for joining me. Daniel, wave to the crowd, say goodbye. We'll see you
Bye.
next week. And this is the Nick Speaks podcast, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. Over here, we're dedicated to the disabled community. See you guys next week. Say bye, Daniel.
Bye, Daniel. No, bye. Bye.
Bye,
We'll see y'all.
everybody.